Hello, my name is Jennifer. I am a 10-year breast cancer survivor. Woo-hoo.
Hi, my name is Terry Brooks, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. This year is my 5th year anniversary, and it's been a long haul. It has been a lot, but I am thankful to be here.
I was actually doing a self-exam on myself. I realized there was something very unfamiliar in my body. I immediately went and had it checked out. Lo and behold, it was cancer.
Healthy cells are the basic building blocks of all tissue and organs in the body. But when cell DNA, the cell's wiring, is damaged, mutated cells begin to rapidly reproduce without following the pre-wired plan. Aggressive cell growth can form a tumor or mass of tissue that, like each individual cell, does not function as originally intended. These abnormal cells, or group of cells, can progress into the disease known as cancer.
I was diagnosed with carcinoma in situ, and that is where you can see calcium on the breast when you go and have your mammogram, and it's the early stage of breast cancer. I went for my mammogram. They said there was no breast cancer and that they couldn't see anything, and I had to go back for a second mammogram. They still didn't see anything, but I noticed a lump on my right breast that was protruding out. I was advised to go to Corona Imaging Center, and that's when they did a imaging of the breast, and it was determined that I had stage 3B breast cancer.
Early detection is the key. Cannot stress that anymore. Early detection. We have daughters, I also have a son, but you teach your children to understand and know their bodies. It is so important. Understand signs of not feeling well. Understand, and my doctors always told me pain is not normal. And I mean, you would understand if you have muscle aches, you're working out, you're trying out, you're out on the field, you understand that muscle aches. But pain is it's not normal. So you have to understand when to go and have that looked at.
So I am here. I did everything naturally. I opted not to do chemotherapy or radiation. That was just a personal choice. But I am here to spread the word. I have my own foundation, the World of Lawnsville, that goes out to help women that are going through breast cancer, children who have lost their mothers to breast cancer, single moms, because I was going through a divorce at the same time, and let alone women who are on the boundaries of being homeless. So we're here to help where we can.
In my case, I felt no pain. I had really no symptoms. I felt a lump in my breast. So oftentimes you would hear people say maybe they were fatigued. I do remember sitting at my desk in front of the computer, and I would find myself falling asleep. Now, though that was my symptom, I experienced fatigue. There were no other symptoms for me. And so it's so important that you are aware of your body, because you have to identify anything that's not familiar.
I think that it's really hard to determine if you have any symptoms. I'm a mother of 3, and at the time, going through learning that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was so busy that I was running around, and the fatigue I probably thought was just taking my girls to their activities. And I had a little one that was graduating from kindergarten, and I literally went from her graduation to the doctor's office to the hospital to have a blood transfusion, and then the next day having the cancer removed. So you just have to really know your body and know what it's capable of doing. And if something's not right, like I said, I had a protruding lump that was coming out, and I had just nursed maybe 4 years prior to that, and I thought I felt a lump, but again, ductal carcinoma takes place in the ducts, the milk ducts. So did I have breast cancer then? Were there lumps where the milk backed up? So it was hard to determine what it was at that time. But again, there was fatigue, but it was fatigue not from the breast cancer, it was fatigue, my blood was low. So it's just, you really need to have a great team of doctors that can work with you to determine what it is that your body is going through. And then there's sometimes you don't have that. So that's why it's so important to be your own advocate, to work with a great team, and you're in control of your team. So you may have to remove a team member or put one on the bench or whatever you need to do to make sure you're getting the care that you need. It's so important.
If you have a parent, if your mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer and you are in your early 20s, you are recommended to go in and have that exam done. In any case, when you have a parent who has a history of that, legally or clinically, the recommendation is 40 years old for mammogram, but that is not often the case. In my case, I was 34 years old when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, of course, my case, I wouldn't have waited till 40 to say, okay, can you examine me? I've been having this knot in my breast, and I wait all these years later till I'm 40 to say, hey, can we check it out now? So they are playing it case by case. If you come in and you have a concern, or if they see a concern, they will give you the mammography. But if you definitely have a parent who had been diagnosed and has that history, you are definitely you are a candidate for early mammograms and breast checks.
Well, this isn't the type of disease that we can play with, nor is it the type of the disease that we have to say, okay, well, we can have you have a mammogram every year.
Right.
You have to have as you service a car, you need to service your body, and that maintenance is the key. So if you're persistent enough, there are insurances and there are doctors who are willing to work with you to make sure that you have what you need in order to make sure you prevent going in that direction. My mother had breast cancer. It wasn't in our history. I've taken the BRCA test. Everything came out negative, but then again, I ended up with breast cancer.
Right.
So for my daughters, absolutely. As soon as they get their first physical and checkup as far as the pap smear, I'm going to be very adamant about them getting their breast checked as well.
My relationship with God, that is what got me through. My prayer life, I would not have made it through without the grace of God. Close-knit family, my children, they were amazing. My kids looked at me as if I were like Superwoman, and they just knew that nothing would happen to me. Like there was no way that anything could happen or go wrong. So, it's encouraging to be a parent. I know as mothers, we know we have our little cubs and we got to make it through this thing. So, your parents are there, you have your team and your supportive girlfriends who come around and they lift you up. But I've got to say that in the midst of everything, God was what got me through. I recall, and I always go back to this story, I remember being in the house, and I had gotten to the point where after having my actual blood transfusion, I had no energy, I had no strength in my body. Literally, just for me to get to the bathroom, I would be using a walker because I had no strength. And just to get to the bathroom, I remember counting the steps. I was counting like 1, 2, how far does it take to get there? But as I recited the word of God, and I said, my body is a temple of the holy and living God, and no unclean thing shall dwell within me. With each step I recited those words. And the more I recited those words, the more that I began to receive energy within my body. God was restoring my energy and gave me strength to walk. And He got me through that entire thing. Now, it was not easy. It was extremely hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life, but I made it through by the grace of God. And so I'm here today, a breast cancer survivor, 10 years later, because of God, the goodness of the Lord. And I'm so thankful for my children who encouraged me, who had the faith to know that this would not take me out. And so I sit here today with my sister, and we are standing here as survivors, and we want to spread the word for you all to know your bodies, to take care of your bodies, and to really, really, really get these checkups. There are so many different communities we have. We are here at Hempology, a fabulous business in the community who is always out supporting other organizations, who is woman empowerment, who is about sisterhood, who is about building other people's, building brands and building businesses. If you don't know where to start, we stress and encourage you today to reach out to Hempology in Hollywood and ask, we saw your ad. We want to know what we can do because we are concerned about our bodies. Reach out to Regina here at Hempology and say, where do I start? And she will give you those resources. Come in and use her products. We have used the products. I am feeling totally rejuvenated. My body is stress-free. I am relaxed. I'm a cancer survivor, and these products have been amazing for me.
My faith